This is a technical culinary term, Jeff. Okay? It's where's your sister sauce?
How do you say?
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM. Fargo Moorhead.
And welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this afternoon. Today is Tuesday, November 29th, 103 right now. 20 chilly degrees outside with a west wind 17 miles per hour, producing wind chills near 5 degrees above zero. And like it or not, colder wind chills are on the way. We'll touch on that here in just a moment. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm, here with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and the one and only very talented, amazing. You got another adjective we can throw in there, Dean?
Talented. Geez,
everything but the kitchen sink.
There's so many that want to roll off my tongue right now.
Ag Director Bridgette Readel.
Think I am I bringing you some kind of a reward? Is that what you're planning for?
Caramel rolls, please, Mom.
Homemade chicken soup.
Oh, well, fun things today coming up on the show. We were just at the Northern Ag Expo at the Fargo Dome. We had a little presentation from about 9:15 to 10:30, and we'd like to thank those that stopped by and said hi to us, listened to what we had to say, and asked those questions. It was nice to see you and hopefully clarify a few things with regards to the LRC, and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit, as well as the upcoming LRC special that we're doing here on December 7th. We'll tease on that as well. And returning guest today, Sharlene Wittenberg, because last time she was on the show with us, we had a little power oopsies, and the station went downhill, and it was about 45 minutes of a headache, and, well, we got Sharlene back, and she was right about to tell us how the turkeys got pardoned by the North Dakota governor and the United States president. So it's going to be fun to hear that story.
Yeah, she pretty much got cut off at about the worst opportune time, unfortunately, and we are all looking forward to the story that she has to share and bring forward for us. So looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I'm still at the Northern Ag Expo, guys, so I'm going to apologize for all the background noise going on around me.
Well,
I'm not at the casino.
I can't hear any of the background noise, but I figured you were having too much fun over there, and me and Dean were too. After about our third or fourth time through the lunch line, we're like, we better get back to the studio. Oh, did I say that out loud? Oopsies.
Right.
No, we had a real good.
It was a good time.
Yeah, we had a good turnout. And you know, again, it's always fun to educate people about the LRC and how that actually does work. And speaking of the LRC, a week from tomorrow, mark it on your calendars. Again, we'll have our winter weather outlook with Gary Lezak, me, Justin, Bridgette. We'll all be talking about what this year's LRC holds, how it's going to affect our not only our weather, but for agriculture purposes as well. We'll kind of run down, are we expecting drought conditions as we head into next year? Is this going to be something like last year? We'll have all that next Wednesday at 2
you missed
2
someone.
p.m.
You missed somebody very important that's going to be joining us.
I said me, you, Gary, and Bridgette.
Yeah, and you, the listener.
That's true.
You can call in and
That's
ask
right.
those questions anytime during the LRC special as well as during our show. Just give us a phone call, 701-293-9000. We would absolutely love to hear from you. If you have any questions, something doesn't seem right, you want to just join the conversation or add a comment, give us a phone call. We want to hear from you, 701-293-9000, or you can always send those weather or ag-related topics or questions or pre-questions for the LRC special to our email, weatherorag@flagfamily.com. So we have all that coming up on the show and a little bit more and a few ag topics that we want to get to, including about the watchdogs. That'll be kind of interesting. Trusted Advisors Program and a herbicide shortage for 2023. And Bridgette, you had said something that kind of caught my attention at the Ag Expo, that we're going into a year where there's less supply for the amount of different herbicides, or was it pesticides?
So if you think about pesticides overall, that's the overarching name for herbicides, insecticides, fungicides. And we know that we came off of a 22 season where we had less supply than anticipated. People made it work. They were able to get things maybe not in the most timely fashion. And we're looking ahead. There will be certain products that are going to be tough to get in 2023. And we'll talk about why you should make sure to have that conversation with your ag chem retailer sooner rather than later. And we'll do that after we take this break and come back.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Stevenson. The Senate will take a final vote on marriage equality today after striking an agreement to expedite passage on the floor and easily passing a procedural vote. ABC's Andy Field in Washington.
Is expected to easily pass to make sure the Supreme Court cannot undo its ruling that guaranteed same-sex marriage across the country. The Respect for Marriage Act adds the guarantees for interracial unions, too.
The Senate added a religious freedom amendment, so the House will have to vote on that, but it's expected to pass by a large majority. Since word of last week's dinner with former President Trump, Kanye West, and white supremacist extremist Nick Fuentes, ABC News reached out to the top Republicans in Congress, Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell, who had no comment. ABC's Jonathan Carl.
3 of the people at the dinner said Trump took a liking to Fuentes, one of them telling ABC that Trump said of the white supremacist, "He gets me." Kanye West, in a video he posted on Twitter and since deleted, said Trump likes Fuentes because he is more loyal to him than his own lawyers.
Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes.
Neither the former president nor any of his spokespeople have condemned the man's virulently racist views or West's anti-Semitism.
Several Republican lawmakers are criticizing that Trump get-together. President Biden's asking Congress to intervene and force freight rail unions and management to accept a contract deal negotiated months ago to avoid a strike. Moody's Analytics chief economist Mark Zandi.
Agricultural products, so corn and wheat and soybean and fertilizers, they're all shipped by rail. They'll be disrupted. And actually, the nation's water supply could also be affected because of chlorine. A lot of chlorine is put on rail.
Well, this dormancy didn't last. The world's biggest volcano is blowing its stack after being quiet 38 years in Hawaii's big island, Mauna Loa. So far, lava's not flowing near anything or anybody. Some ash, though, spewing into the air. You're listening to ABC News.
Paid for by government.com.
Have you heard? A recent stash of 1904 Morgan silver dollar coins has been found. These gorgeous 1904 O silver dollar coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. This is a key date for silver dollar collectors, and only a limited quantity are available. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone interested in silver coins. Just call government at 1-800-895-7664, and you are guaranteed a mint condition 1904 O Morgan silver dollar featuring the iconic O mint mark of the New Orleans Mint. The final year of production, but with limited quantity, you must call now. These 1904 O silver coins are still in uncirculated condition. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904 O Morgan silver dollars before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
Brr, sounds like winter out there.
Did you just say?
Yep, they sure did, and it's coming. Hi, I'm Matthew, owner of Fix It Forward Auto Care. Winter's on the way, and it's time to get ready, including getting new all-weather tires designed specifically for our icy winter weather. Take advantage of our current rebates and availability, and our team can have you ready for winter today. Fix It Forward Auto Care, the name you trust for car repair.
Fix It Forward Auto Care.
Hi, I'm Kevin Wolf, president of Laney's. Are you considering replacing your furnace this winter? If so, you need to consider Laney's, the only company in town that offers a lifetime guarantee. Our guarantee states that if anything ever goes wrong with your furnace, Laney's will fix it for free, day or night, no cost to you. That's Laney's legendary lifetime guarantee.
Annual check and service required. Call Laney's today for more details at 237-0543.
It's just great.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with Meteorologist Justin Storm and our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. We want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. It's a cold day out there, and boy, oh boy, we've got some cold weather that may be pushing down here next week. I mean, we're talking...
That doesn't sound very fun.
We're talking brutal cold off into areas of Alberta. Look, Bridgette, you're looking priceless.
What do you mean brutal? What do you mean brutal cold? Tell me more or not.
Oh, yeah, don't tell me anything.
Temperatures next week in Alberta will be 20 to 30 below, and it's just sitting up
Celsius?
There. It's just we wish. It's just sitting up there waiting to come down. We're going to see a piece of that come down here later next week. But the mother load of Arctic air is just kind of just sitting there like a bowl of Jello, wobbling back and forth, waiting for that bowl to overturn, and that whole Arctic air mass slides right into the northern U.S. How's that for an analogy?
Sounds great.
So be ready for that. We'll have a little bit of snow preceding that. No big storms, at least the way it looks right now. But typically with these Arctic air masses, when they do decide to dump in, normally you'll get a pretty decent-sized storm ahead of that, and then behind that system, that's when the really true Arctic air dumps in. So we'll be keeping an eye on that next week. Again, we do have a small little system later this week. We'll touch more on that a little bit later. But Bridgette, what's with the herbicide shortage for next year? Is this a big problem? Is this going to be affected? Would it be impacted any more with drought conditions if we have that, or what does it look like?
Well, okay, so in 2022, a lot of our growers had trouble finding glyphosate, especially early on. And that supply has gotten better. So you will be able to find glyphosate, and you'll also be able to find glufosinate, which is also brand named Liberty. But you might not find it at the price you like. So that'll be one thing to keep in mind. Prices have certainly changed, and we aren't seeing those soften a great deal for a number of products. Then as you think about some of the things that you use most often, 2,4-Ds, MCP, those phenoxy herbicides, those also are going to be in shorter supply. So now's the time to talk to your ag chem retailer. It's not that you won't get product, but you might not get what you want on the day that you want it. So planning ahead will help you out so you have a lot less frustration. Now, Dean, to your question about drought conditions, what could matter? If we have severe drought conditions like we're seeing in the southwest part of the U.S., they have so little rainfall that they don't necessarily even have weeds germinating at this point. So that could be helpful to you. What usually comes with dry weather are bugs. Insects, especially if we have a lot of southerly winds, they can blow more of those bugs our way depending on which pest it is we're talking about. So I think there's a couple things to keep in mind as we watch how that LRC cycle sets up, and especially when we talk about next week Wednesday. If we think it's going to be drier going into planting, what are the things we should plan for? More drought tolerant crop? Should we plan to see more bugs? Well, we're going to talk about that pretty closely and try to help people make good decisions.
What would be the bigger pest in the area up here that would pose like the most concern?
Well, remember, we are one of the largest soybean growing areas in the nation. And for us, and that's just part of it's just simply a matter of geographics, right? We have such large land-sized counties that we easily can be some of the larger area for soybeans. And when it comes to those pests, soybean aphids and spider mites, those are the two. And aphids, when a field gets overpopulated, they'll sprout little wings and move, and generally they move on a southerly wind stream. So if we have a lot of southerly winds and they've developed in southern Minnesota, South Dakota, and they start moving further north, then they will be a problem for us. Especially in dry conditions, we see spider mites. They actually will cause webbing in the field. Spider mites are probably, they're a smaller pest, but they can be just as destructive, if not worse, than anything we're doing with a soybean aphid. So we got a couple things to keep an eye out for. The alternative is if you tell me that it's going to be really wet and we get southerly winds, we could see tar spot spores move in from Minnesota, where they've already started to see that disease in their corn crop. We haven't gotten it here yet, and we'd like to avoid it.
Has it ever reached all the way up into North Dakota, or is it not a regular thing for it to make it this far north?
Tar spot has not yet reached North Dakota. Yep. Okay, so I apologize if you can hear Charlie Brown's teacher in the back. There's an announcement over the speakers at the Fargo Dome, and that's kind of what it sounds like. But the reality is we don't normally get tar spot in North Dakota. We haven't seen it yet, but a lot of our seed corn companies are already doing ratings for tar spot because they're planning ahead that we will eventually have it here in this region.
And if it gets up here, does it die off in the winter, or is it like here now?
Once the spores are here, they'll stay in the ground. They'll be here, much like other areas where you have fragi leaf spot, bacterial leaf blight, etc. Those are generally soil soil dormant diseases that they'll stay through the winter months, and we'll see them year on year. They don't generally go away once you have them.
Huh. All right, so it's basically just at this point a matter of time for when it gets up here.
I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so. And one of the ways that we can keep an eye on some of the weather is going to be with you, with the LRC. And if you guys can always tell me that I won't have to fight southerly winds on a frequent basis, that would be great. I'm looking forward to you telling me that next week on December 7th when we have our LRC special.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to this. It's going to be a lot of fun. And like we said, we'll get Gary on with us, and we'll take your questions live during the whole show right here on WDAY. I think we'll be streaming it on Facebook as well on WDAY 970 AM. And I think it's also going to be on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to be on I think it's going to be on our WAG channel as well as WDAY radio on YouTube. So mark it down in your calendars, December 7th, 2 to 5 o'clock. That'll be very fun. We're going to take a short minute here. We're going to get Sharlene Wittenberg on the line with us. Remember from the Turkey Federation.
Yes.
She's the president with them. We got cut off last time she was with us, so we're all eager to know what the story is behind these turkeys that needed to get pardoned. So stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
Eric was way behind on his taxes.
I owed a lot of money to the IRS, almost $15,000. I tried to make payments.
The IRS wasn't satisfied with Eric's efforts, so they came after him full force.
They're coming to put a lien and a hold on all my income, my home, my car. I was just overwhelmed at what to do.
Then Eric called Optima Tax Relief.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's our 100th birthday, and you are all invited right here on the radio. Listen throughout the year as we showcase the music and voices of those who helped build this great heritage station. You'll hear radio giants like Don Dresser, Earl Williams, Boyd Christensen, Ed Schultz, Scott Miller, and more. We'll also slide in some music from back in the day when WDAY had a staff of 38 musicians and entertainers. 100 years. Whew, we may need a little help blowing out all those candles.
Hi, my name is Rohith, and I'm a junior at Fargo South. I moved here with my parents at an early age, and I plan to study civil engineering in college. The reason I'm so hopeful about my future is Legacy Children's Foundation. I want to thank the amazing donors who are complete strangers to me. I am amazed by their generosity. Because of them, Legacy Youth receives resources and positive relationships to become educated leaders. Find out more at LegacyChildren'sFoundation.com.
Anyone can get a room for gatherings. At Herd and Horns, we provide an experience. Whether it be dinner, corporate event, grad party, groom's dinner, no matter what the occasion, at Herd and Horns, you get a great time. All ages are welcome, plenty of room and games like pool, darts, virtual golf, and more, plus a private bar. Begin the booking process now. Email info@herdandhorns.com or call 701-551-7000. Herd and Horns next to campus in North Fargo, and so much more than bar food.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. We are so glad to have you with us today. Y'all are happily here to catch on to our repeat guest, if you will. Our repeat guest will be Sharlene Wittenberg. Sharlene is the North Dakota Turkey Federation president. And Sharlene, we've apologized multiple times that we lost power during an ice storm and we lost our interview with you. And so thank you for coming back to visit with us. We're so glad you're here.
You're welcome. Great to be back.
Well, let's start at the top. Tell us about your operation, who you are, what you do, and what's the Turkey Federation?
Our operation, we're located in southeast North Dakota, and we raise 108,000 turkeys. We do conventional to antibiotic-free to organic. Our plant is seasonal, so we start in February and we'll finish up by mid-November. The Turkey Federation is a group of turkey growers in the state of North Dakota, and our goal is to promote turkey, to help anybody to what the 4-H is, and to explore the turkeys and what it can do for the state.
So North Dakota is not thought of as the greatest turkey production area. Where do we rank as far as with amongst other states for producing?
We're probably one of the lower ones in the state. The reason we do not have a processor in the state of North Dakota, so all the turkeys that are raised commercially will either go to Minnesota or South Dakota and into their processing plants there.
And Sharlene, kind of a quick question here. With all the leftover, I'll just say if you want to call them leftover turkeys that are in the freezer section of the grocery stores now. After how long are they good for? So let's say somebody picked up a couple of frozen turkeys and they didn't use one of them. How long are they good for in the freezer?
They're good for a year in the freezer.
Okay.
Yep.
Store up for next year.
There you go.
Store it. Well, you can store it up for next year, or make it in the summer. And they're so easy to cook.
Yep.
People, I think they look at the size and think they're, oh my gosh, they're hard to cook. No, they're not. Put them in a cooking bag, put them in the oven, and
that's what I did.
Easy peasy.
And when it comes to turkeys, all right, everybody after. Maybe it's a boring football game. Maybe it's too much turkey. You always hit the couch afterwards. Is it called tryptophan, I think, that's in a turkey? Is that a myth or is that true? That there's certain things in a turkey that actually make you a little sleepy?
No, they say it's not true because what you're eating is your mashed potatoes, your gravy, and everything else, and the stuffing that has makes you tired and sleepy.
So there's nothing in a turkey that makes you tired.
But yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, there's not. But that is a myth.
So Sharlene, in raising turkeys, where are you getting your birds from? Because if we're not a major turkey producing state, where are they coming from? How big are they? How long do you have them in the barns before they get sent off for processing? Are the barns empty now?
The barns are empty now. There are for our farm, we have two places that we can get turkeys out of Beardsford, South Dakota, which is considered a hybrid breed of turkey, and then Wilmer, Minnesota, which has select genetics, and they also have a hatchery in that process. Our birds, we will get them the day of hatch or the next morning after they hatch, and we will have them in the barns from 13 to 18 weeks, depending on what size our processing plant would like them at.
Right, and that
is a fresh turkey.
It really is. And you had said that your barns are empty now, so when do you refill them?
We will start the 1st of February. We will start wrapping up, so we'll start filling all the barns up 1st of February.
Right, and I think we had asked you last time you were on with us, Sharlene, about the bird flu and what was just kind of going on with that. Has anything changed over the last 2 weeks since you were on with us last, or is now that barns are starting to empty, is that becoming more and more under wraps, or what's going on with bird flu?
Well, the bird flu is still out there, and it's still ramping up. It's still going. I just talked to a producer today, and he had to euthanize last week, but not in the state of North Dakota. And he was in the state of South Dakota. He just got hit last week, he said.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still out there in the environment. He just says he can see them, ducks and geese, and they're not. Some of them are going south, but they're carrying it. Our plant is seasonal, so every grower that we have for up in Northern Pride area, we are all done with our turkeys for the year. And we will all start January, February, wrapping up. But you've got plants of Genio, Dakota Provisions, and I can't think of the other one. They go all year round, so this will affect them and keep affecting them.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you notice for signs of bird flu, whether it's in the wildlife or whether it's in your turkeys? What's your tip-off that something's wrong?
In the wildlife, I have not seen it, but I've seen the person I talked to today said that what he saw is a goose by himself, low flying by himself. He says you always see him together. This one was by himself, And he says this one actually hit a tree, and he said, you know it was sick. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing sick wildlife. In your turkeys, what they notice, the first part of it is the in the barn, the water consumption goes down. And water consumption will go down even if you have birds that are not feeling good, or they're sick but not with bird flu.
Mm-hmm.
But the first is water consumption, and then you will start seeing them dying off. And from there, the producers end up taking swabs, and then they have to send them into the lab as fast as they can to confirm or deny.
I don't want to be morbid here, but where do you put all the dead turkeys? I know that sounds terrible. Can you just dig a pit? Do you have special disposal of them?
Each state is different. Each complex is different. It all depends on, I believe, on, like in North Dakota, we would have to go to the water board, and we'd have to ask them where we can do it. Most of them have to be disposed of in the barn, composted.
Wow. Okay. Got it.
So you compost them in the barn, and so that you don't get them out in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. But you have to have a state designated area. They will tell you where you're going to do it.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow, there's so much we had no idea. So you know what? When we come back, we are going to ask the more fun questions about, I want to hear about turkeys getting pardoned at the White House and by the North Dakota governor, because that's what we're here for, Sharlene. We're here for the fun. So folks, don't go away. Sharlene Wittenberg, North Dakota Turkey Federation president, is going to stay with us and answer our questions right after this.
It's Jay and Ronnie from the Coffee Club, and we enjoy drinking coffee because it keeps us energized and focused.
Well, let's be frank. I enjoy drinking coffee because coffee keeps me wide-eyed in the morning, but I'll tell you this type of coffee is organic, specialty-grade coffee, beans selected from the top 2% available, 100% Arabica bean coffee, certified organic, non-GMO, low acidity, rich, smooth, and ready to drink.
The finish is clean and it has a pleasant aftertaste. It's delicious. It's so far the best coffee that we've had. It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. All you need to do is go to mystore.com, click on My Coffee, and enter the promo code WDAY.
That's promo code WDAY to get your own My Coffee.
It's also roasted and packed in the US of A. We love it and we guarantee you will too. Go to mystore.com, promo code WDAY.
Hi, this is Stacy from Midtown Tavern, featuring Dwayne's House of Pizza. Who else in town has a glycol polar plate system? What? It's a secondary system for chilling tap beer. Put that in one of our frosted mugs and it's the coldest beer in town. Everyone wants the coldest beer. Midtown Tavern has it. Combine that with a Dwayne's Pizza, as well as our vast menu with many handmade menu items, specials every day of the week, and a multi-purpose room up to 50 people. Stop in to visit us. The Midtown Tavern, 2223 Highway 10 East in Moorhead.
When it's time to build outside the box, build with Thor.
Stan, my mother's coming to stay with us indefinitely.
I need a space for the boys. Where can we watch the big screen, play cards, eat wings, drink, and work?
Stan, there's no room in the garage for my garden tools.
Need more space, whether it's a granny flat, a man cave, a decked out shop condo, or a she shed, or a horse barn. They've gotten creative when it comes to thinking outside the box. Thor Buildings at thorbuildings.com.
Make a meal and a statement this holiday season with KitchenAid appliances from Readel. We know the holidays can be busy and hectic, so don't let outdated appliances turn you into a Scrooge. Their knowledgeable staff will ensure you find the perfect KitchenAid appliances to make your holiday merry and bright. From impeccable service to top brand appliances, Regal's wants to keep your holiday traditions going. Visit them online at regals.com or stop in at 609 Main Avenue, Moorhead.
Well, President Trump has announced, and now Ron DeSantis is rising fast in the polls. Newsmax is conducting an urgent poll. Do you want Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis as your candidate in 2024? It's a big question. Newsmax wants to know what you think. Vote in the Newsmax poll, Trump versus DeSantis. Just text the word ZONE to 39747. That's ZONE to 39747. It only takes seconds. Let your voice be heard. Every day I tune into Newsmax for news I can trust. They're even beating CNN in some key ratings. So make the switch and vote in Newsmax poll on Trump versus DeSantis. Text the word ZONE to 39747. One more time, the word zone to 39747. And make the switch to Newsmax today. You'll love it.
If you're looking for a great night's sleep, I'm going to give you 2 suggestions. First, go to Comfort King Mattress Factory. Second, support the community and go to Comfort King Mattress Factory. They'll make you the mattress that you want for your purposes. All the money that you spend will go back into the community. Isn't that what you want? It's a win-win.
You ever wonder who made your bed? Well, you should. And you should wonder what's inside of it. Come to Comfort King and we'll show you the who, what, where, when, and how.
AY, Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Meteorologist Justin Storm. We are so glad that you are joining us today. And we have with us on the line Sharlene Wittenberg. Sharlene is the North Dakota Turkey Federation President, and we have been asking her great questions and visiting. And if someone out there has a question, you can reach us at 701-293-9000. Meanwhile, my question is, Sharlene, how do you get a turkey pardoned? Where do you start that process in the state of North Dakota?
For North Dakota or nationally? We've done both.
Well, let's start North Dakota and work our way up, shall we?
The Federation's president gets to present the live turkey to the governor. So that is one of the perks, I guess. So this year was my turn to take a live turkey to the Capitol to present it to the governor and to the Ag Commissioner. He's also there.
And Bridgette, so what happens after the turkey gets pardoned? Where do they go to a nice country club estate and live out the rest of their life?
Back to the farm, and they're only pardoned until after Thanksgiving. So it's not for their natural life.
It's not? Okay.
No, it's usually till after Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
So that's
and does your turkey realize anything special? Does he get a change in diet till after Thanksgiving? Extra helping of mashed potatoes?
Nope, they got the same thing that they always get. No, they have their soybeans and corn.
So I can imagine getting a turkey to Bismarck. That probably isn't so bad. How do you get him to the White House?
My husband was chosen, or he's voted on to what do they call the executive committee for the National Turkey Federation. And then you spend about 7-8 years working your way up to be the chairman. And the chairman, once you get to the chairman, then you are, one of the perks is that you get to present the President of the United States with the pardoned turkey. And so in 2017, he was there, and the turkeys we raised from little babies, and you kind of train them, and it's really a long process, a lot of work for the president, because they have to stand on that table for 4 or 5 minutes. They have to just stand there, and they can't jump off or anything, and you don't want them to flop the president in the face. Or which there's video of.
Listen here, buddy, it's your big day.
Yep.
So you say that like there's been an incident, Sharlene.
Yes.
Has there been an incident?
Well, there has with the president. I think it was with Reagan. I think it was it Reagan? One of the presidents, I don't know, it was Reagan, I think. No, one of the Bushes, I think. He got slapped in the face with one of the birds. So it's not very good. They don't like that part of it.
Is there a video of this somewhere we can find?
It's probably online or YouTube, I think.
Oh, I'm searching for it right now.
Okay, so then the next one is, did anything like that happen at the state level? Have your turkeys always been well behaved when they've been closer to home?
No, they have not. We've had some very bad behaved turkeys, I should say, at the state level. My son raised the birds once for Governor Hoeven, and so it was kind of his pet, but it was kind of one of the first years that we presented back live turkeys back to the Capitol, because there was many years they didn't. And we got it on the table, and it was in the conference room, and it's a very small room. And not having done it before, we had put shavings in our kennel. And so when we get them out, we had shavings and feathers all over this room. And the bird got out, and it was on the table, and Governor Hoven, he started walking towards the other end of the table, and Governor Hoven looked at the egg commissioner and says, grab the turkey and chase him back. And the egg commissioner at that time, I'm not touching it. And so they were chasing it back and forth off the table, trying to get it back to where it belonged. So it was kind of comical, them going back and forth. And that was one of them.
Please.
And then, yeah.
I'm hoping the media was in the room when that happened.
Oh, they were, and they were taping it, and so you're like, oh my gosh. And the lady that who worked in the governor's office looked around. She goes, "We have a meeting here in 10 minutes." I mean, it was feathers and shavings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a mess! What a mess! They're never going to let us back again. Oh.
And Sharlene, how old is your average turkey that you're going to find in the grocery store?
How old? I would say 15 weeks old, maybe.
Oh, that
in
wow!
The grocery store, in a whole body bird, yeah. When you're looking at a whole body one,
that's
yeah,
it.
15.
Wow.
14, 15 weeks. Yep.
And I was going to say, I think maybe we had asked you this question last week, or last time you were on with us. But what's a bird weigh at 15 weeks? Are they getting like a pound a week, or are these like 10, 8-pound birds?
Should be about 1 3/4 pounds on a hen, 2 2/4 probably on a tom. So 1 3/4 on a hen in a week at that age. Yep.
Nice.
So that's what they should be gaining, but at 15 weeks it should be about 18, 19 pounds.
And how old can turkeys? So after that, for the ones that aren't slaughtered? I mean, how old can turkeys live?
I believe it's 2 to 3 years.
Oh, that's it.
Really? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. They can go that long.
And you made, Sharlene, you made mention of toms and hens. Are you primarily hens? Are you primarily toms? Does it matter? Does that happen at turkey operations, that you have a specified sex of the animal?
Yeah, we are a hen grower, and we specify hens, and a lot of it is with growth and how they're. Our plant will do whole body birds, so they want a hen because it fills out the bag in a nice uniform. I mean, it looks nice in a bag. A hen turkey looks great. Tom turkeys are really long in a bag, so they don't look as good, and they're not as meatier. And so toms are usually raised for cut-up. So a lot of your cut-ups are going for toms because they can reach 43 to 48 pounds. Hens are up 24, 25. Yeah,
that is a big bird.
And toms will stand really tall in the barn. I don't even know what their height is compared to a hen. So all our equipment is meant to be accessed by the birds at the same height, so we keep everything level for them so they can reach everything.
So would you ever want to start raising chicks? Like you said, you're getting your chicks from Beardsford or other places. Is that something you'd ever get interested in doing, is raising chicks as well for your own operation?
No, I would not be interested in hatching, because by the time you get done through the hatcher and get them specified for tom and hen, no, I wouldn't want to go into that part of it. Plus, you have to have a big hatcher, so we take 27,000 at a shot, and so that'd be a lot of eggs to hatch.
You'd be spending a lot of time counting your eggs at that point. There's no doubt.
Yes, you would. Yeah. Yep.
Now, you also mentioned you have organic turkey. Do you have to? How long does it take you to get to that organic status? Because I would also venture a guess you're keeping an entirely separate barn versus a conventionally raised turkey, correct?
That's correct. Yep, we have barns specified for organic. Yes, it takes it's 2 or 3 months to get the paperwork in, and then they have to have birds on your facility before they certify you. So you have to actually place the birds before the USDA comes in and certifies and goes through your paperwork. And then they come every year and they recertify if you want it. And then they go through last year's paperwork, and then they start on everything that you do this year. And then they do physically go into the barn and check it, and then I've had them even take samples of feed and submit it in for laboratory, just to make sure that you're doing what you're saying you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's USDA regulated.
Very involved process, though, to make sure that happens.
And a lot of paperwork.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there's paperwork.
We have folks that raise chickens in their backyards just because they want to, or maybe some ducks. Can you do that with turkeys? Can we get a turkey and add it to the menagerie of animals that Dean Wysocki has at his house, or would you not recommend a lone turkey operation?
I would recommend mixing your chickens and your turkeys. Some people can.
Oh.
A lot of times we've had people, 4-H girls, that we have tried it because we help sponsor 4-H in our county. And what we find is that when they're in the chickens, they'll end up with blackhead because of the chickens and we can't stop it. And so you got to have them on a different ground than what the chickens are.
Okay.
It's just the way it is.
Dean Wysocki, if you get a Christmas gift from Justin and I that chirps.
It's not an extra chicken that we got you. It's a turkey now.
We got you a turkey.
We're growing his little barn in his backyard going up. I don't think it's going to be too long until the city council's knocking at the door. They're like, all right, hey, we know there's ordinances. We know you're doing things right, but enough is enough already.
Well, that would be funny.
We are raising Dean's agricultural education on a daily basis around here. And Sharlene, you're giving us good ideas and tips to do it. Now, speaking of ideas and tips, if someone wants to reach out to the Turkey Federation, to yourself, to the National Turkey Federation, how should they do that? What kind of things and information could you supply for them?
You can call the state office, and they could get you in contact with any of the turkey growers, or if you have questions, I believe we are on the North Dakota Ag website, and with our emails, and you can ask questions from there with the North Dakota Ag.
Okay. North Dakota Ag, Department of Ag, right? Like Pride of Dakota,
that's right.
so forth?
I'm sorry. Yes,
okay.
North Dakota Department of Ag. Correct.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, as always, we seem to have learned quite a lot in a short amount of time. Again, I guess I'm going to have to start my campaign for the Turkey Federation if I'm going to somehow get a turkey to be pardoned somewhere. I'll see what I can do about that. So.
Yep.
So, folks, we've had a good run of discussion here with Sharlene. We are going to be able to catch up with the American Ag Network, and we are definitely going to want to have you come back and join us after we catch that market update, because we have more regional weather as well as what's going to happen locally for the next couple of days.
Are you utilizing your storage space as efficiently as possible? If you have 8-foot shelving under 16-foot ceilings, you're only using half the space you're paying for. But to use that space the right way requires the right equipment, and you need someone knowledgeable you can trust. Here's Kari Score, whose dad Nels started Dakota Storage Products in West Fargo over a quarter of a century ago.
My dad always said, if you're paying for the space, you might as well use it. It's a simple idea, but it isn't always that easy. That's why we have been here for more than 25 years, helping businesses, farmers, and everyone in our region make their storage space smart, safe, and efficient.
For the largest inventory of pallet racks on the Northern Prairie, along with shelving, loading dock equipment, cabinets, bins, warehouse ladders, and thousands of other storage solutions available, come see the experts at Dakota Storage Products in West Fargo. They'll help you make your storage space fit your needs. Call 701-281-1209 or visit DakotaStorageProducts.com on the web. Their warehouses in West Fargo. Dakota Storage Products, they'll help you store stuff smart.
Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home invites you to our 34th annual Holiday Service of Remembrance. We invite you to join us on Tuesday, December 6th at 6 p.m. at the funeral home. Our service is a meaningful time for people to honor and remember their loved ones during the holidays. The service will be filled with beautiful music, a message of hope, and a time of remembrance. May the quiet peace of this holiday season fill your heart and home.
Don't have a blue Christmas this year? Gather up the family, hop in the car, and go see the holiday lights at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds. A drive-through light show that everyone will enjoy, and this year's show is bigger and better than ever. Buy your tickets online and save. The holiday lights will run through the holiday season until New Year's Eve. Make this a holly jolly Christmas with a visit to the holiday lights at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds and start a magical holiday tradition. Brought to you by Christmas Decor and Cass County Electric.
Mixed bag for grains and livestock for the American Ag Network. I'm Richard Rispa with this closing market. All three grains have traded on either side of unchanged today, while the livestock contracts pretty much did the same thing as well. Started a little stronger and then went a little weaker and then found some strength going into the afternoon. The equities and energy markets also followed suit in two-way trading all day. Crude oil right now is up modestly while the NASDAQ is down and the Dow is up just slightly. Not much in news for the fundamentals. However, the protests in China over their zero COVID policies over the weekend has traders watching them quite closely to see if they will be forced to relax some of their zero COVID policies and reopen their economy. And that would be good for demand of the commodities that they import. Other news that we're watching is the possible rail strike being averted again. Congressional leaders have been scrambling all day to pass legislation to avoid that looming railroad strike. Following a meeting with President Biden at the White House, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he and Senator Mitch McConnell will work together to approve an agreement as soon as possible after the House passes it tomorrow. The deadline to reach a new deal is December 8th. However, if they cannot make a deal, hazardous material will be prohibited from being transported 4 days before the deadline. Let's get a look at the closing commodity numbers. March corn down 1 3/4 at 669.5. January beans up 2 1/4 at 1459.5. Bean meal January down 410 a ton at 407.60. Bean oil January down 14 points at 72.98. Wheat Chicago March up 3/4 at 781.5. Kansas City March down 8 at 887. And the Minneapolis March wheat that is down 1 1/2 at 938 1/4. Live cattle February up 12 cents at 154.80. Feeders January up 112 at 178 even, and the April lean hogs, they are down 75 at 89.75. The dollar sits at 106.6, and crude oil is trading up about $1 at just over $78 a barrel. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 150 right now in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy, 20 degrees outside. Are we going to warm up any more? That 3-degree guarantee, is it in jeopardy, Dean?
Could be. It's going to be close.
I think you'll be okay.
I think so.
I think you'll be safe.
Probably.
What'd you go with today?
26. We're at 20 right now.
No, that's too high. That's not right.
I go 25? I went 25.
I
went 25. Sorry.
I think you'll get to 22.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's take a look around the country. We've got the same system that's bringing quite a bit of snow to areas around the Twin Cities is also responsible for what is expected to be a major severe weather outbreak in parts of Louisiana into Mississippi and parts of southeastern Arkansas, I should say, where they have a tornado watch that was just issued here a couple hours ago. And it's a PDS tornado watch, which is a particularly dangerous situation. Could have some long-lived very destructive tornadoes in parts of Mississippi later this afternoon and into the evening hours.
They're already getting the warnings issued. They got 4 active tornado warnings and 3 active severe thunderstorm warnings.
Yep. So, again, according to the LRC, this thing will cycle back however many days the LRC cycle is set. Let's say it's 59 days. We'll just throw that number out there. The same system will be back in about 59 days, according to the LRC, with probably another severe weather outbreak down in the Dixie states. Yep. And for us, though, we are going to see some windy conditions really lock in as we head into tonight. And we'll see some scattered snow showers, but temperatures are going nowhere. We're in the teens tomorrow with sub-zero wind chills, if that doesn't make you shiver. And then we'll slightly bump it up a little bit by Thursday. And then little snow system comes in here on Friday, probably dumping a few inches of snow. Not a big deal, but it'll be enough to whiten the ground, it looks like, again. And we're still waiting for that mother lode of Arctic air, which is just sitting up in Alberta. We'll get a piece of that to come. Man. We'll just get a piece of that next week.
That thing looks impressive.
It's nasty looking. It is so nasty
polar
looking.
Vortex.
Oh, that polar vortex means business.
Man.
And we're looking at temperatures, though, next week will dip below zero. Probably some of the coldest air so far this early season, but just be prepared for that. We're kind of locked in this pattern now of below normal temperatures as we head into the month of December. So all in all, pretty cold forecast, just not overly snowy. And the rest of the U.S. looking at eventually this cold air is going to blast all the way down, covering most areas east of the Rockies as we head into the next couple of weeks. West of the Rockies should remain pretty close to normal, maybe a little bit above normal as a ridge starts to poke into that area. So all in all, not a bad-looking forecast. We could be looking at, major snowstorms.
It could be Alberta.
Yeah, we could be in Alberta right now, and thankfully no.
I mean, the ice fishermen would love that.
Right. The good thing about this cold weather is this will thicken up the ice real quick.
Hopefully we don't have to worry about 200 people getting stranded out on the ice again.
Yeah.
Man, what a mess that turned into yesterday.
Man.
By the way, everyone made it off of there safe. They weren't out there too long. But still, that must be not a fun time. Unless you got a 30-pack of Busch lattes out there, then you probably don't mind.
Yeah, right.
That take me away, wind.
Now, there's no doubt there's a lot of ice fishermen that are waiting to see that ice thicken up because let's kindly remember that, 3 to 6 inches you can walk on. Don't be the first person out there with your vehicle because your insurance agent would appreciate that you not call about hitting an animal and it was a walleye. So let's plan ahead here, folks, and let's try not to take the bigger vehicles out for a while until we get more of this cold air mass to help us create some nice, clear, thick ice. That's what we need. Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say the next couple of weeks will really help in really thickening up the ice.
Yeah, should be good, especially since we don't have that really any snowpack on the ice.
Not a whole lot, yeah.
That helps out tremendously to build that ice pack super fast. But why don't we transition off of that? Enough with the ice.
Okay.
Let's talk about this watchdog. And we're not talking about an animal, apparently. Bridgette, this is a wind sensor or a app for your phone or something like that.
Yes, this is the Watchdog portable wind sensor. It's an ultrasonic wind sensor, and it uses Bluetooth to your phone, and it's got a little device on it that you can hook up, and it will give you wind speeds and directions. Why does that matter? People ask you every time we're on the air, you guys, well, what's the wind going to do? Well, it's either going to blow a lot or not very much. But if you are someone who is applying herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, and the like, you need to know the wind speed for your record keeping. You have to know because there are rules on every product label. If you need to be below 10 miles an hour, if you can take gusts to 10 to 15 miles an hour, and this app will be accurate. We've talked to Daryl Richardson with the Endon forecasting system here in the state of North Dakota, and the Endon stations are awesome. They will tell you the wind right where the Endon station is. But if you're in a field a couple miles away, that may be different. So having this, what they call it the Watchdog portable wind sensor, having that wind sensor is going to give you much more accurate information for where you're at. And especially with certain herbicides that you may spray, you'd best be very accurate because if you accidentally spray a neighbor, that won't go as well as you might have hoped.
Sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Speaking of lawsuits,
these things can happen.
Did we touch on this yesterday?
We did not, no. Oh, man. It has something to do with agriculture, I guess.
I mean, technically, that's cheese. And this is the lady. What state was she out of? I should have pulled this up.
Was it Louisiana?
I want to say it was. I don't know. She's suing Kraft Macaroni for their Velveeta for their 3.5 minute instant shell microwave containers for $3 or $5 million because, well, apparently they're not ready in 3.5 minutes. They're ready in 3 3/4 of a minute.
Yeah, she's in Florida, and she says, you're exactly right, the Velveeta shells and cheese are not ready in that time frame, and she would like to see a $5 million payment in damages. This is actually a class action lawsuit that counters that microwaving is one of several steps in the process of getting your Velveeta to the table. People apparently don't have enough time to wait, perhaps 4 minutes, to get Velveeta done. And they are unhappy with the situation.
I mean, what are you suing for $5 million worth of damages? What
damages?
Well, I lost 30 seconds every day for the last 26 years of my life.
She's suing for false advertising is what she's suing for.
I know, but what's the $5 million worth of damages coming from?
It's a number.
Yep.
It's just
it's the shotgun approach, right? If you start with a higher number and they whittle you down, you get
maybe
more
they'll
than
just
zero.
maybe they'll just give me $1 million to buzz off.
Sure. This is a 15-page class action lawsuit, as I'm
my.
reading through here. And she's not upset with the microwaving time. She is upset with the fact that it advertises as ready in 3.5 minutes, and that's only the microwaving time. They are not taking into consideration the time it takes to mix and stir, adding water, etc., and that it's longer than that time frame.
And she's the only one suing, right? This isn't a...
You know what? I'm jumping on board at this point.
No,
Why
she's
not?
not the only one suing. If it's class action lawsuit,
It's more than
there
one.
are more plaintiffs.
But why is I'm surprised that her name is the only, or if they release her name, that she's the only one coming out. That, the other ones.
All class action suits have a name associated with them, like with the Waters of the U.S. That's called Sackett, is the family that started that lawsuit.
Okay.
So even if it's a class action suit, there's always a lead plaintiff in that suit.
It's going to be
this
coming
lady
now.
in Florida is it.
We're gonna start seeing the commercials on TV. Have you eaten Velveeta shells, macaroni and cheese instant microwave containers in the last 30 to 60 days? Well, you could be in a reward for some compensation.
Unbelievable.
Call this number at the bottom of your screen right now, 1-800-SUE Velveeta.
Oh, man.
Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not give that any airtime, shall we?
All right. Well, I'd like to personally thank everybody that came out to the Northern Ag Expo. We had a great turnout there. We gave away a couple of rain gauges. We had a couple of our listeners out there saying, "Hey, I'd really, I didn't win one. Is there how can I get one?" And Productive Alternatives down in Fergus, they make them and they will sell them on their website. And we will also be giving more away here over the next coming few weeks with some ag and weather trivia. So stay tuned for that. We'll be giving more of those away. But we had a great turnout, and thank you to both of you. You guys, Bridgette and Justin, you guys did a rock star job out there.
So did you, Dean.
You did a great job. So that's going to about do it for us. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us. Make sure to have a great night, stay warm, and we will catch up with you tomorrow at Weather and Ag in Focus at 1 o'clock. Have a great night.
970 WDAY.